welcome back to our channel. So I have a little baby girl here, and today I am going to tell you guys all about her crazy birth story and how that went, everything that happened before it. So it is a crazy story, like I said. If you want to get some snacks or something to drink, I would suggest it because you're going to want to sit down and eat snacks like if this is a movie, because it felt like a movie, honestly. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into her story of how little Emery arrived. So on March 22nd at 1 in the morning is when I lost my mucus plug, and I actually texted my doula and I asked her if that's what it was because I wasn't sure. I didn't lose it with Javi, so I didn't know like how it would look or what it was like to lose it. And she told me it could be, but obviously it can grow back, and it doesn't mean that labor is like about to happen. So it's not a true sign of labor. It can be a sign. For me it was, but at the time I didn't know if it was or not. So then I went to sleep, and at like 3 or 4 in the morning I got woken up by a contraction. It wasn't painful, but it was enough to wake me up and get out of bed. And I was like, oh, these are probably like more Braxton Hicks, because I had been having them already for like a week or two. So I thought they were just Braxton Hicks contractions again. I went back to sleep, and at 7 in the morning I was woken up by another one. So at that time I was like, okay, if I had them starting at 3 and 4 in the morning and I'm still having them now at 7, they might not go away, so I should start timing them. And that's exactly what I did. At 7 in the morning I started timing all of my contractions. I was keeping a log in my notes app. So I'm going to put like my little log right here of what they were, but basically they were anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, and they would not be consistent at all. Like I would get one in 20 minutes, then the next one would come in 5 minutes, then the next one would come 15 minutes. Like they were all over the place. They didn't keep getting like closer together or anything, so I kind of thought that they were gonna just stop and labor was not gonna happen for me. I was in denial like all morning of March 22nd, just like this isn't real, or if it is, she's not gonna be here until like later tonight, maybe tomorrow. And I think I had that mindset because of my first son, Javi. It took him 25 hours to get here, so I was kind of like, oh, it's gonna take her a while to get here too. And so all morning I had a regular morning. I was keeping my doula updated and my mom just in case, but we did everything normal. Me and Javi went for like a walk outside, and we were cleaning the house because I was preparing just in case if things did progress. We had planned a home birth, so I wanted the house to be like picked up and cleaned if things did progress. So that's what we were doing all day, was just cleaning. And then around 1, maybe 1:30, my doula suggested that I get some rest because it didn't seem like they were going to be stopping anytime soon. And since my contractions weren't too bad, I would be able to get some rest at that time, because I wasn't going to get any rest obviously if things picked up. So when Javi went down for his nap, I took a nap too, and I was still having the contractions every 5 to 20 minutes. Still wasn't getting close. I woke up from my nap maybe around 3:30, and that's when things started getting more real for me, because by 4 o'clock I had asked my doula, like, do you think that I should post my labor, that I'm in labor video? And she's like, yeah, there's no going back from this. It's just gonna keep progressing, so you should definitely post the video. So that's when it felt more real to me. I was like, okay, I really am in labor. It's not gonna stop anytime soon. So I posted the video, and then it was maybe around 4 when I texted my aunt to come over, And I texted her because she was going to be watching Javi in case he was like needing attention or needed anything, needed to be watched by someone, because my husband Javi and my mom were going to be paying attention to me while I was in labor and not the baby. So I needed someone here who would be watching him and paying attention to him. So I told her to come. It was like 4 o'clock, I think. And by 4:30, I could not handle him anymore. Any little thing he did, I was like, I can't handle him. The contractions were like really not painful, but they were intense because I was feeling a lot of pressure, super low, and that's what was making them hard. So anytime like he wanted something, I was just getting super overwhelmed with him, and I just couldn't handle him anymore. So luckily everyone got here maybe right before 5, a little bit before 5. My mom had gotten here, my aunt had gotten here, and then I was still texting my doula to see like when she was gonna come, and she's like, whenever you need me, just let me know and I'll be there. So around close to 5:30, I had my first contraction that I couldn't talk through anymore. And they say when you can't talk through a contraction, that's like the real labor, like you're going into active, well, I don't know if you're always going into active labor when you can't talk through a contraction, but at least for me, that's when I think I started going into active labor. And I like couldn't get a word out during the contraction at all, so I texted her that, and she was like, I'm on my way. And she got here. We talked a little bit about what I was feeling, how I was going, how I was getting through the contractions, and we were just talking about like what we want to do moving forward. And my mom had gone upstairs to my birthing space, which is my room and my master bathroom, and she started getting everything ready because I had like plastic that I wanted put over the carpets. I had the shower curtain liners that needed to be put on the bed. The tub needed to be filled. So all of that, she was getting it ready. And then me and my doula came upstairs with her. My doula started helping her out, getting everything all together. I was on the floor on all fours, and I was swinging my hips because that was the only thing that was like relieving the pressure a little bit. Because like I said, my contractions, they were not crampy feeling in my stomach. They were not back contractions. It was just a lot of pressure, super low. And so me like swaying my hips was the only thing that was kind of helping. And so I was on all fours on the floor, and then I had called Javi up to help me because he was downstairs and I was upstairs. And this was at maybe 6:45 probably that I told him to come upstairs, and I told him to help me get from the floor onto the bed because I wanted to hold on to something, and I could hold on to our bed frame. So I went to go hold on to the bed frame, and I was still on all fours again, like on my knees, and I was holding onto the bed frame. And then I had one contraction on there, and that one was the most intense contraction of the entire birth. I legit screamed that my aunt heard me. She had taken Javi outside for a walk, and she heard me outside screaming, and she said that she knew like the baby was coming right then and there, so they ran inside. But that contraction was like the most intense one. I had it on the bed, and I literally felt a pop, and I'm pretty sure I heard a pop as well, and it was my water breaking, and I could feel like the water just gushing down. And right after my water broke, I could feel like a bulge coming out of me, and I knew obviously it was her head. So I had called out for my mom and my doula, but they had already heard me scream from the contraction, so they were already running over when I was calling them. And they came over, and all I remember is first I told Javi she's coming. Then when my mom and doula got there, I told them take everything off, she's coming out, because I still had all my clothes on, my pants were on, everything. So they turned me over to make it easier to take off everything. And My mom said literally as soon as she pulled down my pants that she could see her head coming out. Like, I didn't even push her head out. It was just out already from that contraction. And my doula was like, she's turning. And then she told me to go ahead and touch her head, because we had talked about how that was one thing I wanted to do, was feel her head as she was coming out. So I went down to touch her head, and I kind of made like that sit-up motion, like a crunchie almost. And I think doing that to feel her head made her come out, because she literally, I felt her head and she just plopped out. And that all happened in a matter of like not even maybe 3 minutes, because like I said, Javi came up at 6:45 and she was born at 6:50. So her whole like actual birth was maybe like 3 minutes. It was not long at all, and it was so like fast and unexpected, because they were literally, like I said, filling the tub. The tub was almost ready for me to be in there to have my water birth, and we weren't even recording. That's why there was no birth vlog, because we did not expect her to come that fast. I was literally about to start recording the process, because I thought maybe we had like an hour or two until she was going to be born, and that was all going to be vlogged. So I was in the process of like getting ready to have the camera set up and everything, and nope, she had her own plan. She's like, no, you're not going to record my birth. We're not going to have a water birth. We're going to have a bed birth, and I'm going to be here way sooner than you expect. So she just plop came on out. We did delay cord clamping, so she was on her cord for a good, maybe more than an hour, I would say. We also did skin to skin right away. I breastfed her right away, and everything was pretty much really good after the birth. I did have a little bit of a scare when I went to go shower for the first time. This was like a few hours after the birth, but I think it was just like all the blood that I had lost, and also getting up. And then our bathroom, it was steamy because the shower was on, so I think all of that together made me like feel like I was gonna pass out and lightheaded. But we were able to manage it because I ate some food, I had some water, they turned off the shower so it wasn't steamy in there anymore, and they were like fanning me off. And I also had a cold towel put on my head, so I ended up being perfectly fine. And that was the only like scary moment of the whole birth. A lot of people are like, aren't you scared to have a home birth? Like, what if something happens? What if like it doesn't go as planned, if there's an emergency or anything? And literally nothing was scary at all besides that one moment in the bathroom, and it was me, not even her. So I would rather it be me than her, obviously. And she was perfectly fine when she came out. There were no issues with her. I think I did forget to say that her cord was wrapped around her, but my doula was able to unwrap it right away because she saw it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We were able to stay home, and we weren't bothered by like anybody because we were at home, and it was the best thing ever. I definitely want to do a home birth again. Hopefully next time I'll get my water birth that I planned, and maybe it will be as fast or it won't be as fast, but I can honestly say this was the easiest birth ever, and I am so grateful for that, because I was not nervous, but I was just expecting a lot more because of Javi's birth. And if you guys haven't seen that yet, I do have a birth story on Javi's birth, so I'll go ahead and link that up in the iBar. But I was just expecting so much worse because of his birth that it made hers seem so easy. Like, I feel like I didn't even do anything. People ask me how I feel, or like how the birth was and how the pain was, and I'm like, I don't even want to say it was painful, because I don't remember it being painful like I remember Javi's being painful. I was induced with Javi, so I think the Pitocin is what made my contractions really bad with his. And so this time, since I didn't have the Pitocin, it just felt so much easier that I didn't want to even say I was having contractions, because they didn't feel like that. They weren't painful. I wasn't in pain. I was just having a lot of pressure, and that was basically it. The worst part was the last like 5 minutes of the whole birth, and that's it. And so I'm really, really grateful for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it of her birth story and how she came into this world very fast, very abruptly. And that's pretty much it for today's video. So if you guys have any questions that I left out or anything like that, please feel free to comment them down below. But also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back with more videos.